How's it going, folks? Welcome back. L2PS2 episode 5. This is kind of the welcome back show. We've been on hiatus for about a month now, almost, just due to SOE Live and traveling and other sorts of things. We're kicking the show back into gear here for the weekends, or weekdays, Mondays going forward. For the weeks, I think is the word that I was looking for. We're going to start having all sorts of notifications. Excuse me while I mute the phone. But anyway, we're back. This is episode 5. I didn't have a specific theme in mind for it, as far as how the other shows were NC, TR, VS themed, or so on and so forth. So we're going to kind of just do like a general welcome back recap of some of the things that have been happening lately, and you know, just a traditional Q&A, infantry gameplay, predominantly at least. And you guys can ask questions in chat as always. If you're unfamiliar with me or my stream, I stream most nights of the week at ItZMuRdA.Com, and this is kind of an extension of my stream to do a little bit more of an in-depth show with the thought process behind the decisions that I'm making, why I'm choosing certain loadouts or weapons, or playing the classes that I do in the situations that I do, picking fights, because I think knowledge of the map and where you want to go at any given time is a really huge one. So it's directed at you know, the newer player, but also hopefully veteran players alike will find something worthwhile, or you can ask, you know, a more advanced question in chat if you'd like, and you know, I try to give you my take on that. So the BB emote invading the chat currently, #1 emote on Twitch, right? So anyway, small background on me. Something else that changed: I now have 4 BR100s because I am literally a lunatic, literally. Since the last show. So my Connery character hit BR100. I'm holding off on that for the time being. I don't know if there'll be a 5th or a 6th or whatever someday, maybe. But these are my 4 main characters. They now officially are all 100, which I think, without bragging, kind of just gives me a good idea of the various classes across all of the different empires, and kind of helps me out when I'm making decisions in game, both knowing what I'm going up against as well as you know, the best tool for the job, if you will. So that's something that I always thought was fun. I played all 3 empires in PlanetSide 1 rather extensively as well. And because of that, my map has some weird colors, just kind of one of the disclaimers I give at the beginning of each show here. This is my preference in colors. If you go to settings, general, down here you can change colors of players and maps, HUD, so on and so forth. I use gray for whatever friendly empire and 2 different shades of red, so that I can still differentiate between the two for whatever enemy empire that I'm playing at any given time. I'm gonna throw just a quick boost on there for this. I don't know if I'm gonna be playing NC for the duration of the show. I don't really have any plans as far as that goes. I want to find good fights for you guys, answer questions, take requests, so on and so forth. But that's what that looks like. And right now I'm just taking a look at the map. I generally prefer looking for defensive-oriented fights, so I'm looking for the whitish-gray hexes. Ideally 48, you know, 24 to 48 or 48 to 96 rather than 96 plus would be my preference, but taking a look at them anyway, just to see what we're looking at. Hassan is the alert at the moment, so Hassan's also kind of been my favorite continent to play on since its inception, so I tend to prioritize playing there if possible. Even some of these small fights like this could always prove fruitful. Fort Drexler could actually be decent for TR. That's a potential opportunity. And I might actually play some TR to start off. I haven't played TR in a little bit, as I've been working on directives and so forth. Speaking of which, I was considering doing a directive-based show. I don't know, I'm open to you guys' feedback for specific topics for future shows. Like I had done the Empire-specific ones. I was thinking about doing one for each class, like, you know, a show where I only play light assault, I only play infill, I only play heavy. The only problem with that is I feel like a huge benefit to being able to play the game well and play all of those different classes well is being able to switch back and forth between them kind of at the ready. So forcing yourself into one class for a full hour, even though that's not that long, is kind of, you know, you're not really doing the best that you can be doing, rather than switching around. So I don't know if I want to necessarily promote that. I love directives. I just broke 2K directive points with my exceptional directive completed on my NC character. but at the same time, they're kind of, at the moment, things that you work towards progress over a longer period of time, and there's not a whole lot you're going to get done in a single hour's episode, rather than just, you know, some general progress over time towards a directive. So I've just been kind of thinking, but I'm always open to any sort of ideas that you guys may have for things that may be good for future shows and so on and so forth. In that regard, I'm going to hop on over to Fort Drexler. It is the instant action. That's another thing that I often do, but I do feel like flying a Banshee into it at the moment. But I do normally hit my instant action bind to see where it's going to take me. If you have your map up first, it'll actually even hone in on the hex of the base that it's going to take you to, and then you can just cancel it if it's not going where you want to go, if you decide you want to take a vehicle instead or something like that. But I do think that's a pretty handy way of getting around. And ultimately, I think that's a huge part of it. Finding fights and staying in fights often that are both enjoyable to you as well as efficient for whatever it is that you're trying to do, rather than just kind of being, you know, ghost capping empty bases or something like that. As far as the getting to BR100, I don't really know what the average without membership is. It's probably a considerable amount of time. I mean, BR100 is quite the feat. Nonetheless, just because I have 4 of them, don't you know, get confused that it's a short amount of time by any means. Of course, membership boosts playing in alerts, playing in squads with people who are running squad boosts. You know, I mean, all of that helps. Double EXP weekends help immensely. I played in quite a lot of them on my most recent character. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure somebody at SOE would actually be able to tell you whether or not they'll release that statistic. I don't know, the average, and it's probably quite a lot. I hesitate to even take a guess, but I've seen the, you know, Josk said 1,000 to 1,200 hours. I mean, I think that's probably reasonable. Also, yeah, as he said, BR80 is halfway in terms of the EXP, just to give you a point of reference. I think it's like BR40 or BR44 is only 10% of the way, again for another frame of reference. So it is a long way, but you can easily double it with membership and boosts, and then, you know, quadruple it if you have that during a double EXP, and so on and so forth. So they've certainly made it a bit easier to get over time with ribbons and alerts and the like. But I still think it's in a pretty good spot. That was way too many people shooting at me. Yeah, right, Mithras. I still think it's in a pretty good spot. So it seems to me like, I mean, even for somebody like myself who plays quite a lot, who always has a boost and membership on, it's still taken me almost 2 years to hit all 4 of them there. Granted, I don't have as much spare time as I used to, like back in PlanetSide 1 days, but it still is quite a bit of time invested. But I don't feel like it's too much. I don't feel like the grind is so severe, especially since Battle Rank is really just kind of a cosmetic sort of thing. It doesn't really do any sort of player power that you're gaining from it or anything like that. So I think it's mostly in a decent place where it's at. I think maybe I don't remember, my first character I think did it in like 21 days played or something like that. The most recent just did it in 10 and a half, so I mean that's a pretty big difference, somewhere from you know, like 250 hours to like 500-600 hours, and that's with boost and membership full on. So I mean, if you don't have a membership, you don't have boost, you want to double those figures. I'd say that estimate of 10 or 1,000 to 1,500 is probably pretty good. I know I'm kind of just taking this question and running with it, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I'd say, you know, 2,000 hours is a reasonable amount, and I'm sure there's people that have done it and more, or who have played more and haven't quite completed it yet. And not that there's anything really wrong with that at all. It's just a matter of how you play and what you focus on. But yeah, as far as what's meaningful that you're gaining from it, it's really the certs and so forth, not not the battle ranks themselves. So I actually haven't played TR all that much since the directives patch. I definitely have here and there, but my directives are pretty, other than maybe the ones that were retroactive, they're pretty bare at the moment still. Oh, that was a conk, that's bad. For what it's worth, when you're in situations like that where you are conked, flashed, EMP'd, or otherwise not in ideal control of your character, if you have a medkit, that's another really good situation to be in, to just have it out. You're not really gonna do too much with your gun if you have that out instead, but you may be able to buy your time through it by hitting a medkit while you're in combat. So that's what I was doing there. First one saved me, second one I popped too late. But yeah, I mean, exactly. BR100 is just an EPing thing, it's just a number thing, it's just a, for fun, cosmetic type of thing, so I think it's in a really good place. It's something that you strive for over a long period of time without feeling like it's completely unattainable as well. And I think it's, it has a reasonable rate or length of average attainability for both member and non-member, which, I mean, you kind of have to balance around. I totally should not have gone this way. It took the way long way around. I'm playing in 1080p and 1920 by 1080 resolution at the moment. Wow. Okay. I thought I was gonna. I thought I was gonna get to A a lot sooner. It's one of the downsides of not playing Light Assault at the very moment. Anyway, we're back in the action over here. They're kind of all crammed up in there right now, by the looks of it. Spotting, not something I do a whole lot of when I'm actually at close range or shooting people in the back, or so on and so forth, since it does give off that audible cue to your enemy that you're there. But in that type of a situation where you're at longer range, there's some debris that you can shoot through in between you and your enemy. You're in a much better situation to spot, and then just use the little nameplate and Dorito if you prefer to call it as your point of reference. You can also use the marker implant, which I use on my infiltrator quite a lot when I'm using hipfire weapons. That'll auto spot for you and not actually have the audible call out. Running the Cougar at the moment, one of the newer carbines for TR here. I actually kind of like it quite a lot. I'm a pretty big fan of the slower firing, harder hitting weapons, and this is the TR choice for that. It also happens to have really good hip fire, or at least for what you'd expect from a generally longer range